Okay, I'm Jed, and this is what I'm thinking about doing with this setup. I've always wanted to do a little YouTube thing, but I don't want to record myself. So this is my little stand-in. The background I'm using is just white corrugated plastic, same thing as cardboard, just plastic. When I get a hold of spray paint, I'm going to paint it to be a green screen, and I might smooth out the interior corners, which is what they call a CYC setup. And yeah, and I'd like to, possibly spray paint a few trinkets. If I want um, a better stand-in for me, I would prefer to have some bendable arms, but this isn't the doll that came with the wheelchair. That was a girl, and they were sold out of the Ken dolls that were articulated. So when I get a hold of one, I'll use it. But this is actually a good representation of how I spend my days. I'm in a wheelchair, and when I'm home alone, I'm generally naked, and I get spastic. So you can see my left leg, how it can end up sometimes. Generally not after I've gotten into the chair and I'm comfortable in the chair. Then I end up with my feet on the stirrup or the footrest. You can see it, it's in gray underneath well, you can see it near the front wheels. And yeah, so this is how I spend the majority of my time. Sometimes I'll have on a pair of underwear or flannel pants, or yeah, I guess I'll usually be covered with at very least a towel, so I don't burn myself when I'm smoking, because I smoke a little bit of marijuana. I also eat, so I just don't want to spill on myself. And what else could I tell you right now? This is a test shot. I'm experimenting with some things, and I'm hoping that it comes across, and I'm hoping that I can then build on it. So I've been looking up using green screens, and I'm not sure exactly what I'm gonna have to do, but there's chroma key and some weird programs I'm gonna have to look into, and then I should be able to give myself some backgrounds. And I think that would be really cool, because if I'm telling my story, I could tell memories, and then I could provide backdrops of those memories. So that would be cool if I could pull that off. I guess at the moment I'm just speaking out my ideas, partly so that I don't forget them, and just to see how it all turns out. I'm gonna have to run a quick check on this to see how it looks on my television, because this is just going into right now it's going into a micro SD card that's going in, that's a long story, but I lost the cable for my camera that would run directly into the computer or whatnot. So just working this out. I can't do things on the fly. My camera does not allow that. I have to set up a shot and then film it with this camera that I have, which is a Fuji. It's basically set up like a point and shoot. A Fuji Fine Pix F50 something. It doesn't matter. The short answer is I'm also shooting with a pretty adjustable tripod, so that I can have it perfectly balanced if I'd like. I can also use it on rough terrain and keep it perfectly balanced, and I can also set up shots that are angled. So that's what I've done. This is actually tilted backwards and shooting at an upward angle, probably about well, not 30 degrees, maybe 10, but I don't have an actual measure of the degree of tilt. I just have a little bubble. I'm just guesstimating. What else? Yeah, so I'm thinking that I'll build myself I've got some things I can use as platforms that I can spray paint, when I get some spray paint for everything else, and then I could possibly elevate the figure, depending on what sort of background I'm planning on using. What else? Yeah, I'm probably gonna go into detail about what MS is like over my life, how it's been. I'll hopefully go into detail of what it's been like to be an alcoholic. That's always a fun topic. And I guess the divergence of the two. Divergence, convergence. It doesn't matter. I'll probably talk about the time in my life. It was about a decade ago when I was so focused on curing myself of MS. I was taking so many so many drugs for experimental reasons, as well as large quantities of marijuana, vitamin D, etc., etc. I I quit all of it cold turkey in about a 2-3 day period. I remember I had quit smoking, and then I quit smoking weed the very next day, and I cold turkeyed all the other medication a few days after that. And I lost touch with the real world, man. I still know how to talk to aliens. And they're not what you think. It's I understand what going a little crackers really is. Man, it was the most educational, enlightening, exciting, terrifying, euphoric, and absolutely determined is the wrong word. I had the most rock solid confidence, absolutely unshakable confidence in whatever it was. And and that's the insanity, I believe, that has led some people to jumping off buildings because they think they can fly. I was prepared one night to go out into the street. I remember because this was during the psychotic break that I had, and I was fully prepared to go outside in the wintertime in my underwear, because this would have been about November, December when the break happened, and for some reason, I thought that I was supposed to go out and lay down in the street in my underwear, and that somebody would eventually find me. I don't understand. I didn't have any further understanding of what that delusion was supposed to lead to, but I suspect there was a subconscious, what you would call a cry for help, a suicidal thing maybe. And, it's taken a long time for me to figure some of that stuff out, and I haven't really considered or figured out a lot of the angles, A lot of it is still a mystery, And, yeah. MS? Whoa. Yeah. MS. I remember I was sober about 2 years, and I spoke to the universe. I said, bring it on. And a few months, I don't know how long it was later, that I was diagnosed with MS. I was diagnosed with MS. I challenged the universe, and the universe stepped up. So, at first I looked at it like a curse, but it's not a curse. It's not a curse. It's made me so many things that I can't even Can't even describe. I don't know. There's just so many words that will apply to it. Positive, negative, ambivalent, you know. MS is an incredible thing to deal with. You know, yeah. Drinking. Oh man. I knew I was an alcoholic before I was legally old enough to buy booze. My favorite thing to drink was ice cold whiskey right out of the bottle. Ice cold. It had to be ice cold. I could drink everything. I could drink. It didn't have to be ice cold, but man, when whiskey was ice cold, it was like drinking, I don't know, man. It was just like iced tea on a hot summer's day. It's not that I can't, it's indescribable. You know, I like beer. I like starting out with a beer and clam. But man, whiskey twisted me. I'm so glad I quit. I'm so glad I quit. I was on the verge of really becoming a monster, you know. And I use that word maybe more than I was, but I was on the verge of going down a really dark path. So I quit drinking shortly after my 22nd birthday, I guess it was. I don't know, that's a complicated one. That whole time in my life is just a fog. It's like a record skip, you know. Multiple skips. I've spent years of my life doing nothing. Nothing of value. Nothing of consequence. I've tried to, no, take that away. I've done my very best to not be an asshole. Although I've taken a few years away from the program, I have spent a reasonably large amount of my life going to AA meetings and living a 12-step oriented life. Not all of it. God is such a... Oh, Jesus. God is religion. Bullshit. In my opinion. Bullshit. Religion is just the way people interpret the unexplainable, the unknowable. Currently, you know, let's talk about what my beliefs might be. Okay, the way I believe it, that stepped in to my chaotic thinking when I was clinically checked out, what my neurologist called a what was it called now? Schizophrenic-like episode is the word that my neurologist has used. A specialist, a brain doctor who I was, again, I met her because she deals with my MS, my multiple sclerosis. She is my practitioner. She's the one who helped me get better because she recognized that I was still detached from reality when the psychiatrist they briefly sent me to see couldn't catch it. He, you know, nothing against him, he'd seen me for 2 interviews, maybe 3 by then. But he and I didn't have an established relationship. Me and my neurologist She and I have had an established relationship now for well over a decade. Oh my God, at that time it was, well over 5 years. Yeah, that was 9 years ago. So do the math. Yeah, the way my life has come together interests me, but if you want to call it to be God, the way I started believing it was that electricity is something that we can observe right here on Earth. We watch lightning all the time. We have learned how to harness electricity to produce our world, our technology. We have used that technology to look into the observable universe, whereupon we have seen lightning on other planets, or other, whatever you want to call them, moons of planets or planets themselves. That has been observed. So I just wonder, what? Like, I have no other way to explain that. There might be, I'm sure there is something so much more, but it's not. It is not a consciousness. It is not a consciousness. It is an organization of thoughts and patterns. Yeah, patterns, not thoughts. Patterns are thoughts, but it's such a fundamentally different way of looking at the ultimate pattern of everything. That's how I understand it. It is just a completely incredible thing to behold that you simply have to accept. Once you accept everything, it's like, I can never explain it. It's just like nothing really matters anymore. But that's looking at it the wrong way. That's not the right way. It's having the volume turned down on so many other things. I guess it just brings into perspective how very few things mean so very much. And very many things, so many things, mean absolutely nothing. Nothing. They're laughable. Fucking laughable. People are wonderful and fucked up. Anyway, that's MS. That's crazy. And that's AA. Those are just brief tastes. There's I think I can get used to doing this and talking like this. I have something to focus on, and I need that. So, thank you.